and I'm going to okay, there we are. We're good. We're live on that. And whoops, we're going to go ahead and we're going to do the slideshow stuff when we initially talk a little bit. All right. And we were live. 3, 2, 1. Hello, this is Jack Siebold from KOTA Territory News, joined by Shelby Poplawski to talk about, a massive, massive mess we had 10 years ago. Something you don't want to revisit, but hey, it's weather. It's going to happen.
It is weather. It's going to happen regardless.
Yeah. Now, the October blizzard, if you could go in a little bit about what's the big deal? Why do we care 10 years later that we're going to do a story about a blizzard?
Alrighty, so 10 years ago on this day, it started off as a mix of rain that eventually transitioned into sleet and then heavy, wet snow. During this time of year, we had obviously leaves still left on the trees. So
oh, speaking of that, let's pop up some video, some user photos of the storm. This is the aftermath, and you're talking about the trees.
Yes, so all that heavy, wet snow, we had wind gusts of up to 60 to 50 miles per hour, and so tree limbs were snapping. But up towards our north, hundreds of thousands of cattle, not only here in Rapid City, but up towards our north, were killed due to the wet and then the extreme cold that we had.
Now, when you're talking about the wet and the cold, we're talking about like 1 or 2 degrees difference between a good rainstorm and a blizzard. That's almost insane, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely, because, you know, a lot of these cattle were soaked still out in their summer pastures and weren't able to get to shelter, and those that did, some of the buildings collapsed when they were inside the shelters, and there's some cattle in downtown Rapid City.
Okay, that was bizarre. Let's talk about that for a minute. All right.
So you'll have to lead with that one because I wasn't here.
Okay. It was amazing because what happened was at KOTA, we were downtown at the time. One of our production staff members, I think it was, walked out of the building. Why? Because you couldn't go anywhere anyway. And he hears moo, cattle. Wait, it's almost surreal, almost nightmarish. But he got some video, and I think, do you have that in your stories?
I do not. I was asking people to send it to me. Chris Becker, one of our TMPs.
Okay, I think we can find that video so we can put it in one of your stories. Now that's tonight, tomorrow night, and Thursday night at 5:30. We're gonna have some stories, and let's talk a little bit about that. I'm gonna quickly reach across because we're gonna put some video up of your story here. All right, this is
some just generalized video of the Rapid City Airport plus some of the cleanup. We had record high temperatures just before the storm hit, and then we dropped down into the 30s. Afterwards, we were back up into the 60s like 3 days later.
Yeah, and you notice though in some of this video, you see massive drifts and then areas with no snow. That's because we had those wicked winds, wasn't it?
Right, and you know, those drifts push some of that snow up to 5, 6, 7 feet tall in some areas.
Now, you actually did talk with somebody who was here besides me. Mike Modrick, everybody knows him, former meteorologist.
Former chief meteorologist.
Chief meteorologist, yeah, he'd be mad at me for that. Anyway, let's hear what he has to say. And there we go. Took me a sec. And what happened? Okay, I know what I did. You'll have to excuse me, everybody. I made a mistake and did not have my audio up. Here we go.
Morning. At that time, I was living out Thunderhead Falls Road. It had changed over to snow very early, and you'd sleep for half an hour, and then there'd be this huge crack as a tree limb broke off these old trees. And that was the case all through the night. We lost power 3 times before 9 o'clock. But after the third time, I said, we're out of here.
Okay. He said he was out of there. Well, we're not out of here quite yet. I have to explain, what happened on that. We're starting a new system with this live streaming and a lot of different things to punch at different times, and it'll take a little bit of time before I get that muscle memory we need. Anyway, as we were saying, your stories tonight. What's tonight about?
Tonight is those who worked and kind of lived through Atlas. So Mike Modrick was obviously working at the station at the time. He did early morning coverage and radio hits to keep the public informed. The other side of that, I spoke to someone from the National Weather Service. She was an intern at the time of the storm, just started working here in Rapid City. Okay. And so that was quite the storm to start out on. And
then obviously you're talking to ranchers.
Yes, absolutely. Today I'm going to go out in an interview here in a little bit to go talk to a rancher up in Sturgis who lost about 80% of her cattle. I talked to those who we haven't quite heard from. From what I understood, they had never been interviewed before today.
Ah, okay.
So I got to talk to some of them, and tomorrow will be ranchers, and then the third and final part is what's been changed over the last 10 years.
Okay, what's been changed? Who knows? We'll see what we have on that one. All right, and that's it. Tonight at 5:30 on KOTA Territory News, and Wednesday and Thursday, and we will see you there. Thank you, and goodbye.